Hello everyone, this is SuperCow96 and here I am going to show a tutorial on many of the statistics and stuff in Dragon Block C. And there's a lot of misconceptions for this mod, and I want to clear all of that up because I think I've experienced this mod enough to know a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot. And the sad thing is, it's not really a tutorial explaining pretty much all of the inner stuff about this mod. There's a couple of things here and there, but all in all, there's not much, and I think I should make a tutorial for that because I've played on this one server for a long time, and I've become among the best on the server, and I also know the ins and outs of it, and there's a lot of neat tricks that you can do from it. And this is basically how it goes. So I'm at Kami's Lookout. I have two texture packs mixed together. I have pure BD craft with the HD mod. No, not the HD mod, the HD texture pack. And here I am. Whoop. So when you join this mod, I also have a punching bag just for testing. When you join this mod, you get introduced with classes. You have a human class, a Saiyan class, half Saiyan class, a Namekian class, and an Arcosian class. And believe it or not, all of their stats are different. Like when you max out a player, you think that they're the same because they have the exact same max base power, but in reality, their stats are different. And what matters is the stats, not the power level. The power level is a good indicator of how strong per se a person can be, but it's not the exact kind of thing. As a human, humans get less health than Saiyans, and Saiyans actually get more health than half Saiyans. Humans are actually faster, and they also have a lot more regeneration when it comes to ki. Those Saiyans are much better with ki control, which equals to ki damage and much more health. Half Saiyans are like the in-between point of humans and full Saiyans. Namekians tend to have a very high ki max. And then you have Arcosians, which have the most ridiculous health regen in the entire game. Now, I can just blabber on all day, but I think I should show you all the stats first. First, I'm just going to choose a regular human. I'm going to choose my trademark hair, which is this. And you can choose color hair for a human. You don't get a tail, though, obviously. And I kind of look weird with my anti-spiral skin. So I'm going to click next, and you get introduced to power types. A lot of people explain this. Naturals, like regular Minecraft's key, is basically what you really want for the Dragon Block C. And you get introduced to classes. People say a spiritualist is better with ki, warrior is better with physical stuff, and I'll explain this once I get my character up, because there's a little bit more to it, and there's like some things you'd be surprised with. So I'm going to just choose martial artist, and I'm going to accept. And you see I get a bar on the top left, and my health on the right, where it says 45 with the teardrop thing, and you got 4 slots which you can select. The slots are for your ki. The health thing on the right is the amount of health you have, and the top left is a bunch of numbers and stuff there. But first, it's empty right now. There's nothing in it. It says 0 at the top. The number on the top displays how much ki you have currently. It doesn't display your full ki. Your full ki max can be simply found by clicking V, being introduced to this chart, and looking at ki max. So the most amount of ki I have is 45, but right now I have 0 because I haven't charged ki yet. As for your power level, it's dictated by the little red bar there. You see the little red thing on the very left of my bar? That basically determines the percentage. And right now my BP is 4 because you see the number 4 next to BP. If I hold C, generally the key doesn't go up, but that's configured in the options, but my percent bar goes up, and as it goes higher to 100%, my battle power goes up, and it technically increases like how strong I am. Now, there is nits and stuff that goes within it. For example, like when you upgrade strength, the amount of strength you have is always equal to the amount of punch damage you do at 0%, but it doesn't increase when you go higher in the percent, at least in terms of strength, but willpower does affect it. So for instance, if I'm at 0%, the amount of damage you do with your punches is only equal to strength, and willpower has nothing to do with it. Though if you go to 200% with max overcharge, which you see here, you go to learn skills overcharge here. You max it out, you get 200%, which is the bar at the top left that determines your power level. I got that mod on. Anyways, the willpower comes in as well. And basically, if you're at 200%, strength and willpower added together is how much punch your damage does in base form. If it's 100%, it's your strength plus half your willpower. If it's 0%, it's just your strength. So your willpower is affected by the percent bar thing, but your strength isn't. So there's a little tip there. But anyways, as you see, I'm 6 power level. I'm really weak, and I got really crappy stats. Now we could just, thankfully we got a little command so that we could just demonstrate stuff here. So grmca set all max, and you max out your character if you're in single player. And I'm gonna use sense of beans because hey, I kind of need them. The grmc heal doesn't really work for me somehow, so I'm just gonna quickly charge my key. Actually, I'm not even gonna worry about that. It doesn't. The percent only matters for like power level wise, but the max power level for all base form fighters is 46 million, so there's nothing really special about that. This is your stats, okay? I'll quickly explain this. This, basically, if you upgrade stats from the top here, all of it's maxed at 120, it affects the stats down here. For body, this is how much health you have. As you see here, I have 5,460 health. And this is basically the same with Arcosian races and the Namekians. Half Saiyans and Saiyans have higher health, no matter what class. For speed, humans have the highest speed, but this is kind of negated because with other races with transformations can technically go faster because there's transformations allow them to go faster. But humans are the fastest in base form, so that's kind of cool. For stamina, 218. Stamina is basically how fast you regenerate. And this only affects you when you're in base form. If you're at Super Saiyan or any transformation, a level of transformation, you cannot regenerate your health. But if you're in base form, you can. And the amount of stamina you have affects how fast you regenerate. And believe it or not, regeneration can be very overpowered if you know how to use it. You can fight in base form and get regeneration, so if you're in the middle of a fight, you can technically regenerate in the middle of the fight, which is kind of cool. Like all the races are the same with stamina except for Arcosians, which have like 300 something stamina, and they're really overpowered. Key max is how much ki you have in a bar. So if you look at the number at the top, it's basically how much ki you have. That's all it is. It's the most useless stat technically because it doesn't really do anything except give you ki. Ki control. This is really important. Ki control is basically primarily how much damage you do with your ki. Now I'm just going to quickly make an attack, so I'm going to go JRMCTP, I don't know, 32,000, because that's the max you can get. So you're going to go here, create attack. I'm just going to name it attack. This is basically the best attack. You go wave, 4 speed, 200 damage single, cast time, leave it at 20, cooldown 0.4 seconds, and I'll go for a white color and 1 density. Give it a little sound effect. It's like similar to Kamehameha. So you got that, and I could just spam it. Little tip here: you don't need to hold it all the way to the top to release it for wave attacks. Wave attacks, you'll do the same amount of damage if you just hold it for like a second than just holding it down. The only difference you do with holding it down is basically you can hold it down to get more tick damages out of it, which I'll explain later, and it makes your blast wider. But anyways, it basically affects how much damage you do with your ki. A martial artist, human type at 200% could basically do 1900 damage. But I'm going to leave it at 100% because I don't feel like getting stuff from Kami yet. So I'm going to hit my punching bag, Alex Louis Armstrong, for any Full Metal Alchemist fans out here. So we're just going to shoot him. Didn't do any damage. I think I'll need to edit that after, but I'll show you all after. Anyways, humans at martial artists could do like 1900 damage when at 200%. Ki control affects how much damage you do with your ki. And as basically most races are the same except for half Saiyans and full Saiyans. Full Saiyans have the most ki damage, and it's half Saiyans because they're in between humans, and full Saiyans and humans are Kojins, and Namekians are the weakest. However, transformations does make a difference, so basically humans are the weakest with ki control. Actually, yeah, Namekians also have high ki control, so if you're doing base form, it goes Saiyans, then Namekians, then half Saiyans, and all the other races. If you're including transformations, it goes Saiyans, half Saiyans, Carcosians, and then you have Namekians, and then humans. So humans are the worst with ki. So if you want to do ki blasts, never ever use humans, even at Spiritualist, because Spiritualist only slightly increases ki control. But anyways, ki regen. This is how fast you regenerate your ki. Humans are actually the best with regenerating ki. 285. So basically, I just explained all these stats here. These is what matters. Generally, if you're going into fight, you want a lot of body. Sometimes you want a lot of stamina if you're fighting in base form. Ki control is extremely important. So is ki regen. Ki max, just have it relatively high. Same with speed. You just want it high enough so that you can actually, fight, right? So you got that down. So this is a human class, and holy crap, I'm so strong. Ugh! Okay. Let me just fix that real quick. And there we go. Alright, so that's that. I can't hit my punching bag for some reason. It just doesn't like taking damage. I think I'll have to edit that after, but I'll just show you all of the max ki damage. So we have Namekians here, Kami. So we're starting anew. So now we're a little baby again, so we get to reset our class. Hey, it's me. Okay, so we're going to go with Full Saiyan, and I'll show you the difference that a Full Saiyan has. So if you recognize whatever that is, you can also change your skin to have like the HD skin. And again, you could do that, and then this too. If you have the HD HD texture pack for Jin, yeah, it looks good, but other than that, it looks crap. So I like to stick to my own skin anyways. So I'm going to go here, keep it martial artist. Anyways, yeah, I'll quickly explain the martial artist and spiritualist and warrior. Basically, the difference between a warrior is a warrior tends to have more body, speed, and stamina, but less ki max, ki control, and ki regen than a martial artist. And spiritualist is like the exact opposite. They have more ki max, more ki control, more ki regen, but less stamina, less speed, less body. It really depends. Like, what would you prefer? Like, if you want to be really OP, and generally people don't like to use ki in fights when you go on servers, particularly the one I go on. But if you want to be really overpowered, like choose like a Saiyan class and go spiritualist, and you get tons of ki control, and your ki damages will do not much. But if you have transformations, ki control, like having enough damage to do really bad stuff with ki, you don't really need to go spiritualist for it, because ki is already really overpowered in this game. Like a max human martial artist could do 1900 damage with his ki. He can kill Super Perfect Cell in a few shots. So yeah, I wouldn't suggest spiritualist unless you really want it. A warrior class tends to be better because they have more body, and body helps a lot. They have more speed, which is meh, and they also have more stamina. And let me tell you, regen is very overpowered. I'll be the first one to tell you that. Okay. So if you're doing like a lot of people in servers like to do just punch battles, and if you want to do punch battles, just go warrior type. As long as your ki regen's high enough, you're good, basically. So I'm just gonna quickly eat a sensu, and I'm gonna go J. Oh, screw this, I'm too lazy. Bleh. There we go. I'm gonna eat another sensu bean. Okay, so as you see here, automatically I have much higher body, 7,140. That's a lot higher than 5,400. So there is a difference between each race, even though our power levels are like the exact same. Speed, they're the same. Stamina, basically the same as a human, but actually the human has a lot more speed. It was like 350. Ki max, they're the same. Ki control, look, 352. They do a lot more damage in just base form, plus they can transform. And then you have the ki regen. So, and they have a lot less for ki regen, so yeah. And they also do a lot more damage to their ki lasts. So yeah, you basically Saiyans are a lot more overpowered because they can also transform, which is this thing here. I'll quickly show you all of that right now. Basically, you have a green bar and a yellow bar. If you're going green bar, you transform. So I'm in base form. I go Super Sandwich. Look at that, man. And I'm Ascended Super Saiyan, and then I'm an Ultra Super Saiyan. So I'm really big. This is like the biggest form. Look, even Alex Louise Armstrong is like shorter than me. I think it's because of my hair, but still, look at that. I rival Alex Louise Armstrong size, and before I was like up to his waist. And Kami's just really short, so what could I say? And then for the other transformation, just oh, wrong one. Click H. I'll just leave the basics aside because this is like more of a tutorials for those who want to learn more about this mod. This isn't just like for people who are really new. I'm just gonna keep this towards people who are more experienced. So anyways, next you have the obvious one, Super Sandwich. Oh, hold on. Super Sandwich. Crap, I pressed the wrong button. Super Sandwich 1, Super Sandwich 2, your power level goes a lot higher, and Super Sandwich 3. And this is basically the most powerful form in the game. Basically, the most powerful form, or the most powerful, like, yeah, the most powerful form is a full-blooded Saiyan Super Saiyan 3. With 200% overcharge, of course, but which I'm too lazy to get. And there's a good reason for this. One, half Saiyans have weaker body. I mean, they may be halfway point, but all in all, like, half Saiyans have less body and less ki control, the two most important stats. I mean, they have, like, more speed and more ki regen, but that's, like, garbage. They have the same ki max and stamina, so, yeah. It basically makes Saiyans a lot stronger. Now, there are other forms that may be a lot more useful. Say, if you're base form Arcosian, their regen for recovering body is really good. Plus, they're tiny, so they're hard targets to hit, which is actually pretty useful. But anyways, this is Super Sandwich, and I'm going to go back to base form. And I'm base form again. And for here, tail mode, if anyone was wondering, you can wrap it around your waist. So that's another noob tactic, another tactic for noobs out there, or kind of thing for noobs to learn. So that's a full Saiyan. They have a lot more body and stuff, and etc. I'm going to start anew again, and let's choose our race again. So we got human, Saiyan. Half Saiyan is directly in between human and it's like basically the midpoint between Saiyan and human. They can change their hair color, so they got the little human aspect. They have higher body, which is like the Saiyan side of them, but they have more speed, which is the human side of them. Half Saiyans are the fastest race in the entire game because they may have less speed statistically than humans, but they can transform, and they have more speed than Saiyans, so they're the fastest. And Arcosian transformations are not as good as Saiyan transformations statistically. And you also have a choice to have a tail or not. But actually, believe it or not, if you don't have a tail and play for a really long time, eventually your tail will grow, and that's kind of a weird thing. But hey, so I'm gonna go here, martial artist. Let's go here, accept, set all max, sense bean. Okay. So if you look here, I have 6,300 body, right? And it's basically all between right there. So that's it, if you were just wondering. So I'm going to go Namekian. This is a Namek. Namekians, in my opinion, is one of the worst races, and I find that unfortunate. Good thing they're adding transformations, because if the Namekians get transformations, they'll become a lot stronger. And by the way, they can change their skin. Look at that, he looks a lot more like Dende, and then, I don't know, which one's Piccolo? I think the first one was Piccolo. Yeah, the first one was Piccolo, so let's go for that. So we got that. And look at that. I'm tiny again. Well, I'm still tiny. Okay, so just command. So if you go here, let me eat a sense of being real quick. The Namekians have the same body as humans, but they have less speed than humans and the same stamina. Which is kind of weird. I think Namekians should have the best stamina. They should have the best regeneration. But they still suck. Ki max is really high. If you actually go a Spiritualist, they'll have over 9,000 Ki max. And that's actually really interesting. If you look here, I have a crap load of Ki. So, if anything, it can make really strong Ki attacks, I suppose. But I already know how to make a really strong Ki attack. Like the best ones in the game. Ki control. So, Namekians are pretty good with ki control. Not as good as full Saiyans, but slightly better than half Saiyans and much better than humans and Arcosians. But they cannot transform, so any race that can transform would just surpass a Namekian pretty easily with ki damage. But they're the second highest in base form. And ki regen, they also kind of suck. They're about the same as a full Saiyan, but humans and half Saiyans are much better with regeneration with ki. I wish they were much better. To be honest, I kind of wish so. So, it's really unfortunate. The Namekians don't have much going for them other than Ki Max and Ki Control. Yet Ki Control is kind of useless anyway because they can't transform. But when they transform, they'll have pretty damn good Ki. And I think humans will get transformations too, but I might be mistaken. So that's that. Next is Arcosians. Arcosians, and you can get the Freezer race, the King Cold race, and the Cooler. I like the Cooler. The Cooler's my favorite. So I accept it. GMC set all max, and as you look here, I'm just gonna get that. So Arcosians also have pretty high ki max. They're at 7,140. They have the same as humans and Mechians with body. Their speed sucks, but their stamina is insane. 352. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, that's really high. So if you were wondering anything, Arcosians have the most regen in terms of health. Their ki control and the ki regen sucks. So despite having a high ki max, 7,140 ki, Arcosians kind of suck. But they still have transformations to change that, which I'll show in a sec. And that's basically it. That's pretty much everything. Just got to get the transformations, and then that's pretty much everything for every race. So this is a base form, and then if I hold G, I start powering up my percent actually. If you hold G, you see the red bar on the top, and once that hits full, you transform. So this is first form, and then you slightly grow. And this is basically, if you remember correctly, this is like when Frieza broke his armor right before going into second form. If anyone remembers, he like grew an inch, as stated by Vegeta, and then his next form is like giant. By the way, in terms of size, Arcosians are the smallest and the biggest. Their third form and second form should be bigger than Ultra Super Saiyan, and their first, second, and final forms are like the tiniest. So this is like second form, the true second form, and I'm actually taller than, like legit taller than Alex Louise Armstrong. Look at that, and of course Kami's tiny. So we're gonna go and transform again. By the way, the transformations for Arcosians are not as good. They transform a lot slower, and they're not as powerful. And here's third form. I get even bigger and broader, and Alex Louise Armstrong looks even tinier. Wow, holy crap. And then you have Kami's like he's like up to my shoulder, and he's like average Minecraft size. So if this is like a max, if this like this will be the size of a max player in base form, really. So yeah. Oh crap! I didn't mean to click that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Just one more transformation. So we're gonna hold G, transform. This takes forever. Okay, now I am in final form, and I get a lot smaller. In terms of size, final form is actually not that small. I mean, first form and the inch thing that goes up is a lot smaller still. I'm like up to Kami's nose, so max player in base form would be just a bit taller than me, right? See, you grow shorter when you go into final form. But this is the strength of the final form. In actuality, final form is slightly weaker than Super Saiyan 2 for Saiyans. And I think it should be around the same as an Ultra Super Saiyan. So if you want to spar somebody as an Arcosian, have them go Ultra Super Saiyan. Because that way you're tiny and they're big, and it's hard for them to hit you, and you can hit them easily. Like Alex Louise Armstrong, blah, 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 blah. And that's pretty much it. Next, I'll just stay Arcosian for now, because Arcosians are cool. You see these upgrades, right? It says strength says physical power, dexterity says physical speed, blah 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 blah. Okay, now let's just go through each one. Strength, specifically, It upgrades your body slightly. It upgrades, which is basically your health. It upgrades your health slightly. It upgrades your speed slightly, and I think it's the biggest effect on your stamina. I might be wrong, but it's similar to Dexterity and Constitution. So strength upgrades your stamina quite a bit. I've did a little bit of experiment. Strength upgrades like 1 or 2 stamina, or sometimes 0. It's kind of random, but so it increases your regeneration, and it also adds 1 point of damage to your punch, and it doesn't really change when you transform. So if you have, say if you have like 1 willpower, that doesn't really have an effect on anything. Your strength won't really like how much strength you have won't multiply when you transform. Only willpower does that. So technically, if you want to do a much better with punch damage, willpower is the way to go. But strength is still really good. Because not only do you increase your punch damage, maybe not as well as willpower, but you still increase your punch damage, plus you get more stamina, and stamina is a really big part, and you also get a little bit more body and speed, so it's pretty useful. It should not ever be your highest stat, though, that'll tell you. Dexterity is the most useless stat in my opinion, but it's still pretty useful itself. I mean, it's good on your speed, but you don't really need a lot of speed to go through sagas. Maybe in a fight, but you don't have to have that much speed. But I guess speed's important. I mean, if you really want speed, just go get fly or dash, and that's a lot better. It also increases your body a little bit, about the same as your strength. And it also increases your stamina slightly. So every top of like these 3 top stats affect all of these 3 body stats. So you think, oh, strength only upgrades your power strength. No, it upgrades these 2. So it has a lot more to do. Constitution, this is basically, this is like, in my opinion, the most important stat. A lot of people like to say willpower. I think Constitution is a little bit more important. Constitution makes you grow a little bit, so you get bigger. It increases your body dramatically. It's the biggest thing. It increases your body a lot, and it also slightly increases your speed and stamina. And that's pretty much what it does. Willpower. This, actually, I changed my mind. Willpower is the most useful stat. I'm kind of bandwagoning here, but willpower is just insanely good. And here's why. Okay, so you have willpower. This basically increases your punch damage, but it's kind of complex. You see the bar up there where it says 100% and you got the red bar? It's dependent on that. If you have 100%, it basically takes half of the amount of willpower. So I have 120 willpower, right? So that basically means I'll do 60 damage just from the willpower alone, plus my 120 of strength. If I'm at 0%, it doesn't use any of my willpower at all. I just do 120 damage because of my strength. If I'm doing, say, 200%, which is max overcharge, all 120 of my willpower is added up with my strength, so I do 240 damage. And believe it or not, all the races have the exact same punch damage in base form, but transformations change that due to willpower. So if you transform, your willpower multiplies. So basically, strength only adds like overall strength. It doesn't like add more to transformations, but with willpower it does. So if you transform, you have a lot more willpower than strength. The amount of damage you do with your punches is going to increase a lot. If you have a lot of strength but hardly any willpower, it's not going to do much if you transform. But your defense gets bigger, which is basically like what endurance does. It's basically like DBC armor. So yeah, so you got that. Willpower also it also increases your key max slightly. It's the biggest. It's basically the most of key control, and this is basically key damage. So you do a lot more punch damage and strength, and you do a lot more key damage. This is like your main attack kind of upgrade that you want to upgrade, and it also upgrades your key regen slightly. So yeah, it's pretty damn good. If you go to mind, it's basically how much key you have. Mostly it's like how much key you have. It also slightly increases key regen and key control. So upgrading mind makes your key blast do slightly more damage. Same thing with concentration, except it's a lot more focused on key regen as opposed to key max. And concentration is another important thing. So that's basically what they all do. It's yeah, it goes pretty deep, right? That's what you said. Anyways, so yeah, in my opinion, Willpower is the most important, then constitution, then strength, then mind, then concentration, then mind, and dexterity. It really depends, alright? What I like to do is I like to get my constitution and willpower really high, and I don't really pay attention to my strength because I can already take care of all my body stats with constitution and all my attack stats with willpower. And I keep my mind and concentration relatively high. Not as high as these two stats, but a lot higher than dexterity and strength. And that's mainly because I want to make sure I don't run out of ki when I punch or do any fights or some sort of thing. Once I max out constitution or willpower, I start upgrading strength a lot. Once I max that out, I go for dexterity, and these two just go up at a pretty fast pace. So that's pretty much how I max out my stats, if any of you were wondering. So those are all of these stats explained, and all of what this is explained. Next, let's go here. This is Kami. If I learn skills, learn all these. Okay, a lot of them are self-explanatory. You have jump, which makes you jump higher. Dash, which makes you sprint faster. Fly, which basically makes you fly if you're at level 1, and you can fly faster if you upgrade it. Overcharge basically increases your overall power level and your overall stats, some sort of thing. It only affects your punch damage and defense. And your endurance is basically more defense. So it's basically DBC armor, and actually transforming also gives you extra DBC armor for that case. So if I upgrade overcharge to max, my percent goes higher, and that actually increases my defense slightly higher, and so does my punch damage and everything. Though it only affects my willpower punch damage, which is interesting. Not my strength at all. So I'll go max here. And also, here's a quick tip. Turbo. I want to explain turbo mode real quick before I'll digress for a little moment. When you click R, you get this aura. It uses up a little bit of ki, but it also helps you charge your percent thing faster. Now, some people think that it makes you do more damage with the punches and keys. That is false. You cannot do more punch damage by using turbo mode. However, you can run faster with it, you can fly faster with it, you can jump higher with it, so it's basically a speed kind of thing. You can go slightly faster in terms of speed with turbo, and it also helps you charge your percent bar faster. And that's pretty much it right there. Next, where was I at? Skills. So endurance, this is like really important. Okay, endurance, get that all to level 10 like as fast as you can. It's basically your only DBC armor. You think, oh, I could put on a set of armor and protect myself. Let me explain something real quick. This armor, any type of armor, this affects your DBC, this affects your Minecraft hearts. So if someone attacks you with an attack with a sword that only affects your Minecraft health and not your DBC hearts, it basically means that they're gonna one-shot you in most cases, or kill you in like 3 shots. So if I go like game mode 0, I get armor on the bottom, right? That armor right above my MC hearts, it only protects the MC hearts. If I ever wear armor, it does not ever protect the DBC health, which you find on the very right. So armor is very useful for servers if anyone has a sword, especially if you have good armor, because then nobody's going to be able to one-shot you with a frickin' Z sword. But you have to have really good armor, and it has to have good durability. Like there's like some servers, especially the one I go on, have really overpowered weapons, so we have really overpowered armor. So it protects us from like any like people who run around killing each other with swords. And it only affects your MC hearts, not your DBC hearts. Just keep that in mind. So if you ever wear armor, it's not really like cheating. It doesn't do anything but protect your MC hearts. So if you're just in a punch battle, your armor is pretty much useless. So you need endurance. Endurance does protect your DBC health. Fly, you can fly faster. Like I was flying earlier, now I can fly faster. And this is basically a lot higher of an effect than dexterity, or at least a lot cheaper. And then you got dash, and you got jump. And once you max, you can jump really high. Whoa. And you can run really fast. And notice I'm going to turn on turbo mode for an instant. And I'm going to run slightly faster. Oh, just lagged for a second. Okay, so that's basically all of this stuff explained, and you already know what transformations is, so I'm just going to go straight to my base form. So that's basically everything here. For K techniques, I tried making a key attack, but it's basic. I already explained how you can do more damage with key, but this is basically the best attack you can do for sagas. This is basically like a damage attack. If you're at like full power or Kojin, or actually no, more like full power half sand and full sand, no matter what class, you can one-shot super perfect cell by just doing this, and you can spam it too. And yeah, it's pretty legit. I suppose I don't really need to show it. I don't really care. My punching bag is Alex Louise Armstrong is just way too strong for me. But if you're wondering, this is really overpowered. If you just hold it for a second, it hardly uses any key, and I can one-shot cell with it. So it's pretty crazy. As for the best key clash technique, basically you want really low speed. The lower the speed, the better. Blast attacks work really good. High damage is good. I don't really care about explosive or single. You basically, cooldown doesn't have really effect, so just keep that at 40. Cast time, believe it or not, the lower the cast time, the better the technique will be. So keep that like 0.2 seconds. And for color, it depends on your alignment. If you're good, keep it at white. If you're evil, go for black. For neutral, which is not as good, I think, you go for purple. But since I'm good, I'll go white. That sounds racist, but whatever. Density, 10. Always 10, and this is basically the strongest attack you can ever make, only using DBC stuff. Now, different races can use key attacks better, so the best race for doing key clashes is like full Saiyan warrior type. I've heard there are different ways to make it really strong, but according to my knowledge, this is the best one. And I've won a lot of key blast battles with using 10% in my base form as like half Saiyan warrior. So what can I say? It's really good. As for sounds, basically incantations when you charge it, fires when you fire it, moving is like when it's clashing. So you accept that, and then it uses up all your ki. But hey, I got Sensibility, so if you shoot that, and you get a giant ball of energy that just disappeared for some reason. So yeah, there's your key techniques. You can also get a disc technique. What I like to do if I want to troll people, I'll just keep the damage low. I don't really care. For damage, cast time, I don't know, keep it like somewhat high. Cooldown, I like to keep it low, so if I miss, I can just shoot again. So let's go like 2 seconds. Color doesn't really matter. Density, keep it like just 1, and I'll just make it like that. And then just go around. Actually, I forgot to make that. My bad. I forgot to make it a disc technique. If you do that, you can cut people's tails off. So just go up behind people and just go like this. And a good thing about discs, unlike other attacks where you have to stand still, you can actually move around and shoot discs, which is kind of cool. And those are basically my ways of making key attacks. There are different ways you can do it. Some people have different preferences, but as far as my knowledge is concerned, those are the best ones I can get. There might be better ones, but it's pretty unlikely. It really is. So yeah, that's basically all the nits and gritties of it. So yes, there is a difference between half Saiyans and full Saiyans. Okay, their stats are different. Okay, you just want to be wary of that. So I basically just explained everything in this video. So yeah, and this is Super Cow 96 signing up. Peace.